implement it? There's so many questions. Amy, I will start with you. Ron DeSantis saying, not in my state, and I have a feeling maybe a couple other governors are going to follow suit as well.
I'm moving to Florida. How about that? Yeah, no, this is definitely a huge red flag. This is concerning on multiple levels. I was on a Clubhouse conversation the other night where there were thousands that were a part of. And the whole concern and conversation was on this topic, and people were not happy. They are not okay with their liberties and freedoms possibly being taken away. Mm-hmm. If the federal government wants to implement this in federal buildings or possibly airline travel, maybe they might be able to get away with that, but I hope they don't. Otherwise, they could even possibly look at national parks. But when you're talking about local businesses, small businesses, for us being able to function regularly like we do day-to-day lives, no, this is not okay. I actually had COVID. I overcame it. My family is healthy. No one has underlying conditions. We currently do not need the vaccine. Personally, I'm not anti-vaccine, but we don't need it. So don't force me if I don't want it.
Yeah, Ford, why would we need a vaccine passport for COVID-19, which has a better than 99.7% survival rate, but you wouldn't need a vaccine passport for smallpox or for measles or any other number of far more deadly viruses? Is this about health care, or is this about government overreach and government data collection and tracking?
Well, first I have to tip my hat to my governor, Ron DeSantis, the fellow Floridian on the panel here. He's absolutely right. And to your point, Tom, you raised the exact right point. This is not about health and safety. This is about tracking and your data. And it has the potential to be as big a threat to liberty in the Western Hemisphere as the China social credit system does, because even if you look at the vaccine passport as the Biden administration has laid it out right now, not only does it harm personal freedoms of the Constitution, I believe it violates the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, HIPAA, and the Americans with Disabilities Act, just to name a few. So as a fellow lawyer, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. George, and I was just thinking when Tom was talking, you don't need a COVID passport to come across the border in Mexico right now. And as we were just talking in Georgia, people are up in arms because you're going to require them to have an ID to vote. So why the mixed messaging just really is, I don't even know what the word is for it other than ridiculous.
Well, you certainly don't need a COVID passport in the catch and release program, right, where there is people in the country, many of whom have COVID. So we do live in a very comical time period. I will say, as a pragmatist as well as an idealist, though, that domestically I don't see the point of something like this whatsoever. But the reality is that if we want to travel to Europe on vacation or business or something like that, they may require that to be able to access those markets. So there may be some practical implications of this internationally, but domestically, I think it's just another nanny state, woke left policy type thing that we're going to have to deal with the next 3.5 years. I keep repeating that, but if you want change and if you want to go back to a more normal state, you better vote in 2022 and 2024.
I can't wait for Apple or Google or Microsoft to become the data management partner of the federal government and these state governments, getting access to a lot of this data. I think that's coming up next.
Yeah. Can I just ask one other question, though? And anybody can answer it. Tom, maybe if you want to answer. I think that this is just a gradual increase of what's been taken away from us over the past year, so that they think at this point in time, some people think that this would be okay, that this would be normal, because we've listened to them gradually, month after month, that they've taken away more and more of our rights and our freedoms as Americans. The fact that we're even considering this or saying that this would be normal or okay, or some folks are saying that, is a little bit of a problem.
Well, yeah, I'll answer that. I think that's an important point. I think that it's not just the last year, though, Heather. I'd say it's the last 100 years. I'd say we used to be a republic, and we used to reserve most of the rights in the states, and we've now forfeited most of those rights to this Leviathan federal government that controls way too much of society, and it's been ongoing for a long time, and it's like you wake up one day and you realize that it's too late, that there's been so much stolen that it's going to be really hard to take it back.
Yeah, gradually making things normal where we don't even notice that it's happening. All right, everyone. We're not quite done yet. Stand by. Coming up, this rapper is causing a